What's good, YouTube? It's your boy the Ninja Waver here, and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, you already know what to do. Be sure to like, comment. Wait a minute. Wait, if y'all are new, you guys wouldn't know what to do. Don't tell me I gotta change all my intros.
I've been going crazy. Plug in, can't play me. Jesus done saved me. Can't switch, won't sway me.
Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to reset your crown area. So buckle up and brace yourselves, because today we getting up close and personal. Now you guys have heard me talk about resetting your waves in previous videos by lifting up your hair using a comb and laying back down your hair using a brush. That way you can reset the foundation of your wave pattern to add depth and connection to your waves. When it comes to resetting your crown, the concept is pretty much the same. Now some of you guys may be wondering, okay, well if that's the case, when would I use this method versus just resetting my waves in general and killing two birds with one stone? And the answer to that question is, essentially, you will want to use the crown reset method when your waves are laid and established, but your crown looks pretty much subpar. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so these are what my waves are looking like right this second. As you guys can tell, my wave pattern is there, and my waves for the most part are laid, but my crown area is what needs a lot of work, right? There's not really any isolation going on, right? And it's not really detailed. So this is a perfect scenario where using this method would be the most beneficial. Now don't get me wrong, while there is never any harm in resetting your wave pattern and trying to develop your waves, right? If you're down to a time crunch and you have one thing that you had to choose to work on, in this situation it would be best to work on your crown area, because your crown is the one that clearly needs the most attention, whereas your waves don't need that much attention because at least they're already laid. Also, you guys may have realized that I don't really have any product in my hair right now. This is essentially because usually by the time I'm putting product in my hair, I'm also resetting my waves and doing this method anyway. But because I want to go ahead and record this video, I decided to hold off on putting product in my waves. All of that to say that if my hair looks dry, that is why. Bars. So let's get right into the video. So the first item that you guys are going to need, and the most essential item, is going to be what I like to call a mini comb or a crown comb, an edge comb, however you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. And essentially it's this mini comb that's usually on the opposite end of an edge brush. Now you can find items like these at your local beauty supply store. All right, now you can try this method with a normal comb with very thin teeth. However, it's going to be extremely difficult because unlike your wave pattern, we're dealing with a tighter area. So we need to find something that will allow us to easily maneuver around the crown area. All right, so keep that in mind. The second item that you guys are going to need is of course going to be a brush. Now, because the crown area is typically always thicker than the rest of your wave pattern, you're going to want to have at the very least a soft brush and a medium brush. And if you're heavy wolfing, a hard brush as well. And then last but not least, you're going to want to use a mirror. You guys can see my little setup workstation here. Nothing special, just a ring light and a smartphone. So if you guys, any of you guys out there want to start your own YouTube channel, this is all it takes. I believe in you. Now, the first step that you guys are going to want to do is, of course, you're going to want to lift the hair up in your crown area. Let's get started. So I'm gonna come in a little bit close, right? Now, the reason why this is the most essential part of this entire method is because essentially there are tiny little hair strands that you guys can't really tell that's tangled up in this entire jungle of a mess. So what we need to do is to use this edge comb to lift up those tiny hair strands so we can lay them back down and they can further enforce the swirl-like illusion in our crown area. So what we're going to do is, of course, we're going to grab the edge comb, and you want to use the edge, just this bottom part where my finger is sliding. You just want to use just that edge, and you want to place it on the edge of that crown, right? kind of similar to how you brush. You don't want to use the whole comb because then you're just going to mess your crown up, right? So you just want to grab the edge, just use a portion of it here. And what we're going to do is we're going to comb out. Comb out. You can kind of see the hair strands lifting up a little bit. And essentially you're just going to comb in the same direction as you typically brush your crown. Now normally when I brush, sometimes I do a slight drag around, but because the crown is a lot more definitive of its angles, I'm just gonna go out straight like this. I'm gonna lift it up. And then I'm gonna grab and I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna comb here. You can kind of see those hair strands start to lift up and start to fill in the space. And then you're gonna come to the back, same thing, comb at that angle. It's the same angle that you normally brush your crown in. You're just using a comb for it. You can see those hair strands really start to lift up. And then of course you're gonna come around. It'd be easier if you switch hands. Make sure you guys switch hands. You don't have to, but it just makes it easier. You're just gonna come around and swoop. You want to get as close to the crown as possible because again, there's a lot of mini hairs in your crown area. See, I'm swooping. Same way I brush. Then I'll come to the top. And kind of circle it around just like that. So mini drags are fine. It's just you don't want to drag all the way around, right? I'm still combing it in that section. Now I'm going to repeat it. You want to do this for a little bit. That way you make sure every single hair strand is lifted up. Already you can kind of see this wave coming around the crown. You see that? It's starting to form around the crown because I was able to detangle that little mess that was going on. So after you're done combing it out, you should see like the strands starting to create a little spiral spin, just like this, right? At that point, that's when you know that you've pretty much combed it out pretty well. Of course, you can keep combing as long as you want. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my medium brush. Again, if you're wolfing, you wanna use a hard brush. And essentially, I'm then going to brush my crown. I'm gonna lay it right back down. Right, you see this? You see the little wave that's there? Now the wave is starting to try and swoop around the crown because I just detangled that mess, right? And now I just brush the crown like usual. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my soft brush and do the same thing. And a bonus item that you guys can use is the very end of either a comb or this pointy part at the end of another edge brush, right? And what you can do is you can use it to maneuver the very slight inner hairs of your crown. You guys might have seen me do this before too, right? And you can kind of use it to move the hair strands a little bit to where you want them to go. there. Alright, so that does it for how to reset your crown area. As I mentioned before, you guys can usually reset your crown area by combing against the grain, because it's resetting your crown anyway. But if you ever find yourself in that situation that I mentioned before, where your waves look pretty good but your crown needs work, this method is going to be very, very helpful. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, be sure to drop them down in the comment section below, and I will be sure to see you guys on the other side. Be safe, and salute to my wave troops. I'm out.